Hail and well met, Fallen Warriors. Welcome to the second episode of my multi-part series introducing you to Valheim and the secrets held within it. In this part, we'll be finding a new home, upgrading our equipment, and gearing up for our battle with the first boss of Valheim. There's no time to waste, so let's get right into it. Last week, we left off at the end of day 1. The very next thing that I think we should do is to check to see how much flint we have, and if we don't have enough to make a flint axe, go ahead and collect a little bit more. Now, I'm pretty sure I said this before, but we should definitely learn from my mistakes here. Last video, I definitely expressed that you should pick up as much flint as you see, and I didn't heed my own advice, so now I have to go back up and pick up more. Excellent. We now have our flint axe, and I think it's time to rearrange it to the top of our toolbar. We have enough resources left that we can craft another item, be it arrows or a baby seal club. I think we should go with the club. I'm just kidding, PETA. I don't club baby seals. That would be inhumane. Now that we have a shiny new axe and a means to defend ourselves, I think it's time that we go out, get some more resources, and take a look around. With how much information there is that I need to get through in this episode, I decided to cut out all of the unnecessary bits, and so that means, alas, no tree montage this episode. After stumbling through the forests, picking up additional resources and other good things, I saw this beautiful place. As soon as the sun highlighted that backdrop, I knew immediately this is where I wanted to be. Unfortunately, it was surrounded by all sorts of bad things, and I had to clear them out first. Okay, I made a pretty critical mistake here. When fighting the Greylings, I decided to use a club when I definitely should have instead used my axe. In Valheim, when you're attacking a creature, there is a text color that is applied to the damage. If the damage is gray, then the creature is resistant and or neutral to the damage type, and if it's yellow, they are weak against that damage. Keep that in mind when you're fighting creatures. As you can probably tell from my current life value, I was wholly unprepared for this combat, so I opted to just run away. After gathering my resources, I decided to return and fight them again using the proper weapon. Just kidding. That would have been the smart thing to do, but I'm not a smart guy, so I decided to instead charge headlong using my club. It worked out really good. Watch.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Knowing that I messed up didn't stop me from trying again. I came back for some seconds, and I got a healthy serving of a rock to the face. Yeah. Alright, listen here, game. We're doing this one more time. This time, perfection. Here we go. I was fairly fortunate enough on my third reincarnation of this character to have the Greylings completely leave the area. All but this one, but it didn't take long to finish him off and get my way over to the new base. I just wanted to take another moment here to comment on how beautiful this little meadow is with the mountain in the back. I wouldn't find out till later, but this is definitely one of the best spawns I've ever had in Valheim. I'm fairly accomplished on my main character and in progression of the Valheim story, if that's what you want to call it. But on this character, I wanted to try something I've never done before, and that's taming animals. I saw that there are these berry bushes here and a half-built pen, and I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to try out something I've never done before. Taming animals, and maybe specifically boar, was a lot more arduous than I thought it would be. There's no way that I'm aware of to get an animal to follow you after it's been tamed, so you have to end up pushing the animal with your body and doing all sorts of other things to get it to frickin' move. It took way too long to do, so I'm just gonna kind of fast travel through what I ended up doing. The reason why I chose to try and breed boar at the very beginning is because I knew how important food would be to me later, as well as leather scrap. After killing a boar, you can get a trophy, leather scraps, and meat drops. The best way that I've found so far to get a boar into a pen is to piss it off and run away from it. teasing it towards you and then closing in the fence behind it. To start the taming process, you need to feed the animal while it's in its enclosure. You could feed the animal in the wild, but then you have no control over where it goes, so pin it up, throw some food on the ground, and walk away. The best thing to feed a boar is mushrooms. They do like their shrooms. Don't quote me on this, but I do believe it's only 2 days and nights for you to actually tame the animal. While the animal is taming, you should just leave it be. You can tell the animal is taming when you see hearts floating above its body. While the boar is taming, you should take the opportunity to go ahead and rebuild your base. We've already done this in the first episode, so I'm just going to speed through it. Since the house is now complete, it's time for us to go to the next step. I think in the natural progression of the game, the bow should be the next thing that you get. The flint knife is also an acceptable alternative, but eventually you will need the bow. Making a bow is relatively simple, and same with the flint knife. You just need leather scraps, wood, and flint for the knife, and just wood and leather scraps for the bow. I didn't have enough resources, so I just ran off to go collect those things, came back and crafted them. While I was out, I also picked up some more wood to finish up my building. After all of that, it's day 5. While I was out, I also coerced a few other boars in so I could create a pin that was closer to the house. That would make transitioning them into the property later on much easier, but it was still kind of a pain. Since now that I have a bow, I decided to use this opportunity to go scout the surrounding area. And I'm glad that I did. I found lots of really valuable resources that we'll cover in other videos, but I just wanted to use this opportunity to show you how to mark things on your map. Using left click, you're able to drag and move your map around, and then using the scroll wheel, you can zoom in and out. If you want to place something on your map, you click on the icon and then double click on your map. A little prompt will come up for you to type what it is, and then you can just move on from there. If you right click an object you've already created on the map, you'll remove it. You can ping on the map using the middle mouse button, and if you left click on a map icon that you've already placed, it'll put an X on it. I continued to run around and place map icons for a while until I was satisfied with the amount of stuff that I'd explored. Which pretty much ended the moment I saw this guy. After looking at my map, I realized how close he was to my spawn. This is really good news because that means a troll will spawn here regularly, and it allows me to get into the troll armor and skip over leather almost completely. My strategy to fight trolls is pretty simple. Just don't get hit. Run away from him, turn around, shoot him with a bow. Run away from him, turn around, shoot him with a bow. Continue this until he's dead. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna catch some survival game genre fanboy flack for this, but I definitely think that the best thing to do with a troll early on, especially when you don't have any gear, is to get it stuck on some trees. It's important to note that other monsters will fight each other, but trolls and greylings are like best friends, so just don't try to gather up a bunch of greylings to fight for you. It will not end well. I'm talking from experience. In the very end, it was honestly the skeleton that was the hero of this story. While I was cowering behind bushes and shooting from afar, that skeleton was right up underneath that troll. He had no fear. After the troll finally died and all of his loot was on the ground, I collected that and returned home to start finishing building the house. With the video starting to get a little long, I decided that now would be a time to cut into a little bit of a time lapse of me building this and skipping over the boring parts. Additionally, I wanted to include this extra footage of me wrangling the boar back into the main base. It took a while, but I finally got it. Once I got the boar back in, I wanted to make sure that I had them fed and ready for whatever came next. And here it is, the final pan. As we take it over the fence, we can see how the boars have been doing, creating an exceptional amount of new piglets over the past few days. I collected some bees along the way and was able to get myself up a little beehive. As I panned into here, I've created a mostly smoke-free building. Well, that's it, guys. Thanks for stopping by, watching the video, and staying till the end. Until next time, cheers.